we get to keep the rest of it, then we have enough space. Plus, we're gonna have to be in both, cause we won't have enough room. And even the 60 by 100, we would fill that up, especially if we get our new boat someday.
Yeah.
So,
Were you here at the last public meeting, the big one we had here with pizza?
Yeah. Mhm.
The walking
Quite a
orders.
while ago.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
The walking orders after that meeting was, well, we don't want just 2 buildings, we want 3 from the public. So that's gonna be included. Now, it's not necessarily gonna be included in the cost, it's not necessarily gonna be phase 1, but it's gonna be included in the advertising and the planning at this point.
Mhm.
So perhaps the full 6,000 would end up being yours, depending
Right.
on how much room you actually need when you see the building. So, you know,
But
there's
we're
a
still,
lot of
I mean,
options.
we're still a long ways out, and no option of, just getting a bathroom in the building we're in. I mean, if we're gonna be
Right.
a couple of years,
Oh, it's not gonna be a couple of years, it's gonna be this spring. Like I said, the end of January,
right?
DEQ is done.
Mhm.
So as soon as it thaws, I'm hoping we can actually break ground and get this done.
And get the one building built,
Yeah.
plus the.
2 buildings, the
yeah,
modular and the storage.
modular and the storage.
Yeah, perhaps the 3rd, depending on cost.
And is the storage gonna be heated?
Mm-hmm,
Okay,
yep, yeah, that's necessary for all you guys,
right,
yeah. At 80 degrees, probably not,
60 is perfect,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Did you decide on a heating system?
Yeah, I think we have, well, I guess I shouldn't say we have for sure, but I think we have,
Okay.
yes. And I think we're looking at the in-floor, just
Perfect.
because long run, it's least expensive and most efficient.
It is, it costs more in the beginning, but I think, I agree that it's the best one to go in
Yeah.
the long run.
Now,
But, awesome, well, I'm laid off for a little bit, so I'm gonna try to come to more meetings, but,
all right,
I just wanted to see, cause nobody knew what was going on, so.
right, yeah. Yeah, and it's, you know, just the first steps. So
Mhm.
as we start rolling and asking more questions, then there'll be a whole lot more public information.
Alright,
So, yeah,
alright, sweet, well, I will see you guys later on.
all right, thank you very much.
Yep.
Doug, come on up. Doug Ellis, Treasurer, Superintendent of Schools Report, and again, these items and times are subject to change. So we're just bringing you up from 11:45 as a whole.
Yeah, that's fine. I actually don't have a lot more information than I did last week. I called this Sean Graham, and what this is all about, the reason we got brought down below the radar again, or up above it, or wherever we're at with the radar, is that they were checking to make sure if we had someone contracted that they can't make more than a third of their retirement.
Oh,
And
okay,
so this is just kind of an audit,
okay,
and we just happened to get caught up in it. So, we do need to still contract somebody for superintendent of schools, but it's not because they're looking at us to fine us or anything like that. It's just because we got caught up in an audit and they found out we don't have one. When we do have one, that's part of our responsibility is to let the state know how much they're making each year. Make sure that they're not going over their allotted amount. I called White Sulphur and, their superintendent of school just retired. And so they put it in with the clerk and recorder. And that's as far as they've gotten. They haven't gotten anybody contracted. They're just up in the air right now. They're not sure what they're doing. They're not even sure what they're supposed to be doing, so.
They've got to join the club.
right, right.
I told her to call me in a week and maybe we'll know more than maybe them. But, I called a couple other superintendent of schools. I called, Muscle Shell. Catherine Feister was their, superintendent of schools. She's been on the job for 26 years. And, well, she was a teacher, and when she retired, they hired her as superintendent of schools. She puts in 24 hours a week, but they have a lot of rural schools that we don't have. So really, it doesn't. doesn't really apply to our situation too much. Let's see, this one, Lincoln County, I talked to Brady in Lincoln County. He does evaluation of teaching, legal issues, grievances. They have 4 rural schools, so most of them I talk to are, they have rural schools, they're doing that. Actually, for Broadwater County, if we're, unless we wanna hire somebody part-time and keep them here, or whatever they need to do, I think the best thing, probably cheapest thing for the county is just gonna be to keep it the way it is, and if we have any legal issues or anything come up, then let them step in. The only thing is, I think that might make it hard to get somebody to contract with us, because it's, what do we do, run an ad in the newspaper? Low hours, lower pay. I don't know what, but, I mean, it's gonna be hard to get someone who wants to contract when there's no money going out to them, unless you decide to pay them monthly. And if we do that, we're putting money out for just basically to have a figurehead.
I think you could check with some other counties, and I'm sure there's somewhere along the line, there's a retired teacher, school superintendent that would be like an advisory type thing. They'd be paid so much an hour when we need them.
When we need them,
And,
yeah. And that's what I asked, that's what I was asking Mark County, is if it was possible for 2 different counties to contract with the same person.
Mhm.
And they don't know that answer, so it's still, I'll just have to, I put an email out statewide to all the superintendent of schools, and I got 3 replies, so.
Wow.
So other than that, I guess it's kind of up to me to just, do the legwork and try and find somebody that will, I don't know, we've never had to do this. I don't know if that's something we need to put in ad in the paper, or
It would be
if
smart
it's
too.
just word of mouth, or,
Yeah, it seems to me that we have enough people who used to be teachers who are no longer, that might be interested, and it would be nice to give them the option to say yes or no, to apply or not, depending on whatever our package looks like. And if they could also do the same with MAR, then it looks a little bit more attractive
right,
to somebody. Even if it is just, contract as needed, it's still an opportunity if they're needed for
Yeah.
them. And if we get nothing, no response with that kind of a proposal, then we go back to the drawing board. And as you get busier and busier, something to think about is would it be worth it to you and your department to have them actually do some of those reports? Since they have to sign off on them anyway, right?
right. That's the one thing, and that's always kind of bothered me when I do my transportation and retirement report at the end of the year. I sign it as treasurer that this is all correct and then checked. Then I sign it as clerk and recorder saying that I've double checked my work and it's all good. Then I signed it as superintendent of schools saying I've checked these other 2 people's work. But, I'm kinda surprised that the auditors let us keep getting away with that, because that's what sets the mills for the retirement and transportation for the next school year. And the only one looking at it is me.
Yeah.
It's kinda, I mean, I'm not the only one looking at it. I send it to OPI and they check it over. They check every county's over. But as far as the county employee, I'm the only one that has any input on that form. That's kinda,
That's why we
Kinda lose
have a
our check.
contract person that can step in on that.
right, yeah, they can check in and look at it and see if I'm missing anything, or, make sure everything looks good to them. And I'm not sure on the contracted person, I'm not sure how many retired teachers would,
Do they have to be retired?
well, or they have to be part of, they have to be active in the retirement,
Don't they just have to have 3
that they
years?
do. Yeah,
If they just have to have 3 years teaching, we have probably 5 or 6 ex-teachers that are not retired, but are no longer teaching, that meet that 3-year requirement.
yeah.
And
See, and I think they have to, I think they still have to be part of the, teachers' retirement system.
do they?
I think they do.
What if you check with the school here and tell them what the situation is, and maybe, they'd have some idea or some names
Yeah.
or something to that effect?
But they wouldn't be retired
Well,
if they're with the school system. Now, if they have to be involved with PERS, they could be not retired, but
See, and I
if
talked,
they have the 3 years, they may be vested with PERS. Does that
Yeah.
fill that requirement? If they're a current teacher, does that fill that requirement?
yeah.
I think we need some
And
answers
the
on
lady,
that.
the lady I talked to, Catherine, she said that she kept her, hers, just so she could
Do that.
meet the qualifications. So let me check into that and see. I've got all my Montana codes today, so.
I brought mine. Here they are. So you probably know them better than I do to do the glance
I don't know
search.
about that. Oh, this is tax appeal.
Is this the one that you need? All right, sorry about that. Told you you'd know at a glance.
Okay, they have to be, hold a valid current Class 1 professional certificate, Class 2 standard certificate, or Class 3 administrative and supervisory certificate issued by the superintendent of schools, have at least 3 years successful teaching experience. So they can be, they don't have to be retired, they can have a Class 1 or a Class 2 certificate. Or a Class 3 administrative.
That opens up the pool to some people who might be interested.
Right.
Yeah, especially if they have another position. This could be, just a little bit of extra for them and keeps them
Yeah.
involved in the schools, which I would imagine they might like.
Yeah.
So,
All right, well, I can check with the school and see if they know of anybody that might be interested in.
I can give you some names too, probably shouldn't in a public meeting, but I can certainly give you some names that might be interested in.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's why I'm
Alright.
kind of thinking a public advertisement, then it's up to them to find it. Once you decide what it is that you're looking for.
Yeah, and really, I don't think, unless the county wants to go as far as hiring another employee and making them part-time and going through all of that,
They still have to have those qualifications though, right?
right?
Yeah,
And I would think to do that, you're gonna have trouble unless you find somebody that's just looking for a part-time job and not a lot of money and just wants to stay active. You might run into that, but it's still, in order to do the job, they'd have to have a desk, they'd have to have a computer and be checking their emails and the mail that comes in and,
yeah. We narrow the pool so much if you have to have that education piece.
right.
If you did put doing the reports into a contract for contracted services, if that's something that could work, because then their contract, with the base pay or hourly or whatever,
Yeah,
it's an option too, again, depending on what you want in your workload, something to look at. And if it isn't that much, maybe it is just one of those where you're kind of on call for us for whenever we need you. And we have a very, easy package to work with.
yeah, we actually do, we're probably one of the easiest counties, just because we don't have any rural schools, we don't have any, really no big problems with the superintendent's school, other than keeping up with the daily stuff.
2 minutes?
Yes.
All right, thanks. Yeah,
All right, well, I will call the school and see if they know of anybody, maybe they'll have a list they can send me and kind of go from there. What are you guys' thoughts on that? I mean, as far as hiring somebody part-time or just contracting for one
Contracting,
meeting?
that's what I would say. And the thing is, like, you check with the school here, maybe check with, Helena, for a list of,
Retired.
yeah, that, might take some.
Yeah, I know their superintendent at school in Helena, and I really got along pretty well with her, but she retired this month.
Oh.
So I got ahold of the new one. They have a lot more on their plate in Helena than we do.
Oh,
here.
yeah.
But
I mean, maybe they can
might
tell
be-
you someone that.
if we could keep the
Yeah.
opportunity and the money local, that would be my preference, versus going to Helena.
Well, that's what I'd say, I'd try to start here first, but if,
Yeah.
then just expand.
All right. Would, I guess for now, just ask if anybody's interested, and if they are,
Here's the other side of it, we'll be talking to Corey here in just a minute, but we have a vacancy to be filled in the accounting office. We certainly couldn't make that a requirement, because again, it narrows the pool too much, but is it something we'd want to include into that? Roughly how many hours would it be? Those are some things we could think about if you
Right.
wanted.
yeah,
There's an opportunity there. So.
yeah,
And that'll be, that'll be something we can throw into the application process. Contract might be to start the easiest. I don't know, it's up to you, I support whatever you decide. I think there's an
I
opportunity.
think probably just to start out with, it would be easier just to contract,
I do
work as
too.
needed kind of deal. I don't know what we would even offer them for a wage or
You could start with something real nominal, like $500 a year. I mean, Doc Campbell gives $5,000 a year as the public health doctor. Doctors make substantially more than anybody else, so maybe $500 or $1,000 a year as just a base. $500 a year plus hour for when they are called, that might be pretty good. That's affordable and would be potentially attractive to somebody looking at that.
yeah.
Yeah, as just a shot in the dark, but might be a place to just start.
Yeah, all right, yeah, if I find someone that's interested, I kinda wanna be able to tell them a little bit about what their benefits might be,
Right,
so if we,
and if Mar did the same thing, that's not it's good Christmas money for somebody.
right, yeah, it's more than a retired firefighter gets.
That's right, yes, other than a huge thank you.
Yeah, okay, I'll check with some of the retired teachers and the school and see if I can get something going and keep you guys posted.
Okay, sounds
And
good.
as far as this, I said I can just send it in and just put not applicable on the back and let them know we'll contact them when we do get someone.
Sounds good.
All
All
right,
right,
all right,
Thanks,
thank you
Doug.
guys.
this is really easy.
Is this open or closed door?
Open.
Okay,
We can do
good.
closed door if you want, but that would be the subject.
Okay.
We have a vacancy in the accounting department.
The what?
Yeah, accounting department,
Accounting.
under Debbie.
Okay.
Tammy Rouser is going over to extension, interviewed for the extension assistant
Oh.
position, got it.
Like
So,
soon? How s-
Uh,
Yeah, like now.
yeah,
Like
she's,
now?
she's splitting her time, so yeah, we're probably looking as soon as Debbie gets back tomorrow, redoing the job description, reevaluating the job description, and then, going out to hire either in-house for a week or outhouse for 3 weeks. So,
Did we already have a vacancy in that office?
no,
Mhm.
Tammy's been there for quite a while.
No, I meant, and I don't know the whole background from you, but I thought there was some discussion that the finance officer job had never been filled after Natalie left. That's not accurate?
No, Debbie filled it.
Debbie filled.
Yeah, we just changed the title because we thought we kind of needed a
Okay,
new start.
so back to this one, okay.
Yeah, so it's that department.
Okay.
So Michelle, I called her with an issue last week, and she said to me on the phone that there was something also to talk about with this vacancy. And that was your office. She suggested and asked me to bring it forward, so that's why I'm doing it, but it really is your decision. Some counties, Fergus County was the model she used, has a deputy county attorney who splits their time with HR. I think she's looking to get rid of us. But to have HR in-house is usually a lawyer that does HR, or they work closely with the county attorney. So that's why she suggested your office.
Hmm. Interesting.
Yeah, and before we put into the job description, Michelle at least needs an HR administrator. Debbie is not a good fit for that, and Debbie has said that as well. It's not anything against her, it's just, some personalities are, some aren't. So what I was thinking is we put it into the new job description for this new employee. She said sometimes it could be up to 6 to 10 hours a week. Okay, so we need to make it a 32 to 40 hour, 40-hour work week for that position. There's certainly enough work. And put HR administration there. But if you wanted it, that's something we could work with you, and the time is right. If you want some time to think about it, it's always something we could do down the road.
So, I guess the first question is, that there must be a portion of her duties though that are beyond HR.
Yeah,
So-
but Michelle's are the new employees.
Well, replacing Tammy.
Yeah, they'd
Good.
just be administration. So, right now, the policies, they need to be just reformatted. We would have HR administration do that. Michelle makes $100 an hour. We certainly don't want her doing that. They would have probably set up her presentations last week. When somebody comes forward and says, I need a job description for a new vacancy, the HR administrator would help with that versus Michelle. More of the just administrative duties.
Okay. So, there aren't additional finance duties that would be, someone would have to pick up?
Yes,
That-
I
is that
personally would
accurate?
like to see payroll go to that new position so that Debbie is freed up to just work on the budget. So we still have to fill the position in finance or accounting. So that doesn't change anything, and then there's other little things in there, claims, junk vehicle, that kind of thing.
So let me just understand the suggestion. Suggestion is potentially that HR, all HR issues come in-house, and so it would basically be like a deputy county attorney that's part of her duties is to do HR administration. Under that suggestion, there would still need to be some administration done by an employee in finance. Is that accurate?
No. Under that, potentially no. Under that scenario, I would think that person would do it all. But maybe not.
But then you're saying payroll would go somewhere else. Where would payroll go?
Well, we still need the assistant to Debbie. There's claims, there's junk
Okay.
vehicle. So then payroll goes to that person. I'd also like to see them cross-trained in the budget, because I think the budget needs at least 2 people who know it, at least enough to get by.
Right. So we're looking at basically changing Tammy's position. I'm not saying this is the general idea, changing Tammy's position to be payroll and cross-training on budget and claims. and then take HR fully out of that office, and eventually fully out of Michelle's arena into, somebody within the county attorney's office. How many other counties do that?
I don't know, she just used Fergus, she just said Fergus. I know several others have county attorneys, or deputy county attorneys, but I don't know which ones split with HR.
Yeah. Well, and because I know that like, but although it's a bad example, it's a big county, it's Clark County, you know, they have lawyers who do just civil stuff. And I suspect that they do advise the county commission on HR issues. You know, Fergus is an interesting example, but they also have a different form of government than we do.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, their charter, I think they're the one local government that's, is it called charter? I don't know what it's called, where they aren't a limited government, it's, they basically have a whole,
Oh, I didn't know that.
yeah.
Okay.
They're the one county that's different.
And they're substantially bigger than us too, I think they're 11,000, don't quote me.
Yeah, because I know Lewistown's a Class A school, so they're a little bigger.
Okay,
Well, I'd have to think about it. I mean, I will tell you that you know, the criminal workload is not slowing down. It's been, it's been crazy. Just civil stuff, it's becoming more and more obvious that more time is needed for that. And so, you know, I expect that this coming year is probably the year where I'm gonna say, you know, we have to make choices. Either there's parts of this job I just don't do, or, you know, I'm gonna have to have a part-time deputy or something. So I suspect that 2016 is the year to make that decision. But I don't know that we're there yet. I'm just trying to do all that I need to do. I guess I would need to, yeah, I would definitely need to make some inquiries, kind of see if there's pitfalls. I mean, I would probably call Mako and they may say, oh, don't do it for this horrible reason, or they may say, well, it makes sense. So it may cause problems or it may avoid problems. So I could do some inquiry. I mean, I'm not saying no to the idea. I'm just saying it would probably need a little bit of time to make some inquiries. So
Yeah, makes sense.
it's a big decision to just turn around in a week. And that's why I said, you know, even if we do put HR administration under this new job description, it's not a new job, we can still make the change later if you want it. There's still enough work to be done to
yeah,
fill that,
yeah, that's true.
that position.
Yeah, and it would change certainly change some things in my office sooner than I anticipated, so. Let me think about it,
Okay.
and I'll get back to you as soon, maybe in a couple of days, because I know you want to get going on the replacement either way, right?
Yeah, another little piece to think about is if a attorney, and you will have to correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is if an attorney is part-time, like John was, they can run a private shingle attorney
That's true.
business. So if your deputy was 32 hours, as some of our, I guess just 2 positions are, they could do the wills and stuff that the citizens want from a private attorney that right now we don't have. Carla's moving, Tom Budowitz is thinking about retiring, so there might be an opportunity with that as well. 25, 20, 32, whatever.
Yeah, no, I think there's definitely, I mean, there's plenty of demand, even now I still get calls and I tell people I can't help them, but, it's interesting.
Yeah, just another opportunity that, you know, takes a lot of energy to think about the different nuances of what we can do, but
Okay.
it's kind of fun.
Anything important I missed from the health presentation?
Just that,
HHS?
just that because it's the very start, and this always happens, there is a fear that there's big changes, that there got to be the rumor out there that we were getting rid of public health, that we were getting rid of the nurses. What we're doing is just starting an investigation process to figure out, is our model the best one for us? Do we need to look at another model? And that's it.
And is the short version that those positions would be eliminated as county employees, but that public service would be provided then by the hospital, so the county would contract with the hospital, I'm assuming?
Not necessarily. We could still contract with the hospital and keep those employees. We could contract with the hospital and they become a hospital.
I guess I'm asking this, if the hospital takes on that that service, how do they, where's the funding, how does the funding go to the hospital for them to do that service? Directly from DPHHS?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
partially, but also counties are obligated by law to pay for public health.
Right.
So there would be, in that model, a contract that says annually you will pay this amount.
Okay, yeah, that's what I
The
was
way it
asking.
works in Carbon is they pay 58,000 a year, that's about half of what we're paying right now. But they also pay for the building upkeep, maintenance, that kind of thing,
Hmm.
which we're doing right now. And then if there's an emergency, the county is obligated to pay for it, like
An outbreak or something?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So that's just the first example, there'll be many more.
Alright, sounds good. So I don't know that I'm meeting with you again today, am I? I don't think I am, am I? Oh, wait, 2, are we doing it at 2 o'clock?
I think we should, if that's okay.
Well,
But I'd
that come
like
out
to-
at 1:30, that closed door.
No, I asked to move it to 2 because I have a 1 o'clock meeting that folks that are coming in from out of town.
Oh,
So is 2 o'clock okay?
I guess that's what it's gonna be.
Okay. All right. I'll
Yeah,
plan on
I
that.
think it's not a bad idea. Thank you very
Alright.
much. All right, Franklin, anything else for the good of the order today?
No.
All right, we will adjourn until 2 o'clock unless otherwise notified. All right, thank you, everyone.